Sports Zone update.
Well, it's back to action tonight for the Brewers as they open the second half of the season in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. They do so having won 7 straight games and owning the title of the hottest team in the National League before the break. And they don't appear content either, especially as they continue to add to their pitching staff with guys returning from the injured list. It's a far cry from the beginning of the year when they were grasping at straws to find starting pitching, according to catcher Eric Haas.
Where we were to start, or we're just looking for innings anywhere we could find them. And we had a lot of young guys come up and throw some very meaningful and really good innings for us, and getting these guys back who we kind of planned to be in the clubhouse in the first place. They haven't broken stride. They've joined us, and they've done nothing but put up zeros for us. So they're a big factor with why we're winning.
Milwaukee going to send Quentin Priester to the mound tonight. He's 7-2 with a 3.55 ERA. The Dodgers going to go with Tyler Glasnow. He allowed just 1 run on 2 hits against the Brewers last week. He enters 1-0 with a 3.52 ERA. Milwaukee just a game back of Chicago for first place in the NL Central. First pitch out west is set for 9:10.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Packers have all their draft picks under contract. That's after signing second-round pick Anthony Belton today. It came on the same day that the team's rookies, quarterbacks, and injured players reported for training camp. Veterans joined them on Tuesday, and the first practice is on Wednesday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Milwaukee, just a game back of the Cubs, and they're an amazing franchise, right? Pat Murphy picked right up where Craig Counsell left off. They had 17 starters last year and ran away with the division. They're right back in this thing right now. They're a fun team to watch.
I mean, they do everything right. They really do. I mean, they shock me every year. Murphy might be the manager of the year again. You mentioned 7-game winning streak. 7's their lucky number. They're 7th out of 30 teams in hitting and in preventing runs. I mean, this is a very good, well-balanced team. Christian Yelich, I was in their clubhouse recently, told me I guess he gets the analytics. They have the fastest overall team. That's an advantage. Obviously, they've got Terang. Mitchell has been out, but they've got Frelick is very fast. They've got guys who get that extra base. They play the game right. Murphy does a fantastic job. I mean, I only have things to like about this team, really.
Can they?
Watching this team, not to do the old school, new school thing, but this team is trying to play winning baseball, runner at second base, to try to move them over, get them on, get them over, get them in kind of thing. And I get that sense.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
That's some audio from MLB Now earlier today on MLB Network. I love those shows. Always good for a soundbite or a breakdown of just about every team, honestly. But, the Brewers are hot. They've been winning. They're a team that gets talked about. That just kind of gets us into the show. I don't even want to start with the Brewers, but the Brewers are back tonight. So I thought that would kind of get us into things. I have to share a very brief story before I get into my opening take. I showed up to work today at 12:30. Normally I show up at 9:30. I had a doctor's appointment, just like a follow-up thing. I hurt my foot in case you didn't hear, I hurt my foot on Sunday. It's fine. It's in a boot. It's no big deal. But I had a follow-up appointment today for my appointment that was on Monday. So I showed up to work a little bit late. And it's a good week for it. It's the All-Star break. So we plugged in some best of segments to run for the first half of Bill's show. And I was like, I'll come in and I'll do the second half and I'll work the rest of the day. It'll be fine. I just need a couple hours in the morning. I waltzed in today at 12:30 with a Diet Coke on ice in a cup from Quick Trip, not a can. The hierarchy of best tasting goes fountain drink, can, bottle. Sometimes I'd rather have nothing over having them. I'm so anti-bottle. It just doesn't taste the same. Whatever. I got my fountain drink. I walk in at 12:30. I've already had lunch. I love working with Bill, and I love the opportunity to do more and be on air more. So I have no problem being on Bill's show. It makes for a long day sometimes, but today it felt so nice because I felt like a true evening drive guy. I'm always jealous of these people when we go to Radio Row at the Super Bowl because Bill's on at 10 Central Time. So if we're in Vegas or like this upcoming year, the Super Bowl's in San Francisco. So we'll go on the air locally at 8. And in Vegas, he went on the air at 9. So we got to be there at least an hour, probably closer to 2 hours before he goes on air, just because, you're prepping the show, you're getting things ready. And it's just good to be early. I think adults are early for things. That's how you should be. So we're there early. It's a long day. And then I got to watch my counterparts, my contemporaries who they host evening drive shows. They waltz into the thing at like 1, just after lunch. They got a cup of coffee. They look well rested. It's like, yeah, I'm here to do my evening drive show, and then I'm gonna take off. That's all I got to do. And I'm like, man, wouldn't that be incredible? And today I got a little taste of it. I tell you what, I like it. It agrees with me. That's what I used to do. Before I started working with Bill, I'd show up to work at I wouldn't show up late, but I'd show up at 11:30. Oh, this is what I strive to do. Not because I don't like working with Bill and I don't want to be a part of his show. It's just like the schedule of just doing an evening drive show. That's what I strive for. I want to be those people. I want to be one of those people that just walks in partway through the day. I'm just here to do my afternoon show. And it's kind of all I got on the docket today. I want to get there. This is the Wisco Sports Show. Enough about me and my day. I'm glad you're here. Happy Friday. It is a Fins Up Friday. It's also a Free Phones Friday. What that means is people are always confused by this. Grant, you take calls every day. What does it mean? You can call in whatever you want, which kind of happens already, but I feel like for the most part, if we're talking about the Brewers, people call about the Brewers. If we're talking about the Packers, people call about the Packers. It's kind of how it works, right? We don't have to do that today. We can bounce around in a 10-minute window from the Brewers to the Bucks to the bet. We talk about whatever you want. So I will give you my opening take, and then all the phone lines are open if you want to jump in and talk about something else or continue talking about what we're talking about. 608-321-1670. You can text that number as well. Comment on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. My opening take today is an NFL one, and it's got a little bit of a Packers tie. There's a lot of NFL news recently, let's just say over the last month. And a lot of these headlines have very little, if anything, to do with actual football, which some of you are like, oh, great. We weren't getting enough of that with all this nice year fork-earing talk. Yeah, I know. There's no games going on right now. It's the middle of the summer. But there's been a ton of news in the NFL world about things that aren't connected to football being played on the field. First and foremost, I'm sure you've been following the saga, or maybe you've heard about it, about how second-round picks have been holding out. They, like first-round picks, are fighting for guaranteed contracts. And up until 45 minutes ago, that was the case of Anthony Belton. The Packers announced that they have signed tackle Anthony Belton. There were no details about anything specific. They posted a press release. It's got a picture of him that says signed. And the only words in the story say the Green Bay Packers have signed tackle Anthony Belton and released defensive lineman Nesta Jade Silvera and D-line Cameron Young. The moves were announced Friday by general manager Brian Gutekunst. So there you go. The second-round pick has been signed. And although it's late, it seems like a lot of those dominoes, those second-round picks are falling. But that's been a story, right? Contract holdouts among second-round picks around the NFL. There have also been lots of stories, and we've talked about it a little bit, about the NFLPA and their battle with the NFL owners over collusion stemming back to first the Deshaun Watson deal, but then contract negotiations between the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and maybe Baker Mayfield, but I can't remember. There was another quarterback, but I can't remember who it was. But we talked about this a couple weeks ago. There was a document obtained by Pablo Torre and Mike Florio highlighting all of these artifacts, emails, texts, phone calls, slideshow presentations between owners and the NFL and the owners saying, well, we discourage guaranteed contracts. We don't want that to become the norm. That'll be hard to walk back, right? It was clear that they were, although they are competitors, they were working together on keeping contracts structured a certain way, timed a certain way, not collusion that was legally proved and convicted by an independent arbiter, but in a court of public opinion. I mean, look at the text, look at the comments and the slideshow. Like, they're colluding for all intents and purposes. And then there's been all this drama with the Players Association between J.C. Tretter, who is the player head of it, who hired, what's this cat's name? Lloyd Howell. And there were details about how he came to be elected. And that was part of the report from Pablo Torre and Mike Florio. And I played again some audio from that podcast a couple of weeks ago, where it was rushed and it was kind of suspect. And this cat's background when he was with Booz Allen, overcharging the government and just doing some nasty maybe not illegal dealings, but not great business practices. And you walk away learning all these things. It's like, okay, well, why was he the guy to replace DeMaurice Smith at the Players Association? How did J.C. Tretter identify this guy? Why did they push it through so quickly? What's the reason? What's the motivation for all of this? So sleazy dealings among the owners, sleazy dealings among the NFLPA, some drama among second-round picks and their contracts. Now, yesterday night, Lloyd Howell stepped down as the NFLPA executive director, and Kalen King and Don Van Natt have had great reporting on this at ESPN, going back to his time at Booz Allen with sexual assault allegations, things like that, sexual harassment, I think maybe more specifically, but again, misdeeds, misgivings at his previous place of work. And then also, there's a story out today about how he charged strip club charges to the NFLPA billing or whatever, and it was framed as a camaraderie building event or whatever. It's like, okay, so this guy kind of sucks, and we have lots of evidence. How did he become the guy in charge, and what was the motivation among J.C. Tretter and his peers to push him through and make him DeMaurice Smith's replacement? I'm just outlining all of these different headlines and stories that have come out over the last month or two, but pretty much over the last month, about how there's some mess internally among the owners, among the PA, between second-round picks and their teams with their contracts. God knows, I mean, Shamar Stewart is a separate thing, but that's been going on too. And my question is, and I think I know the answer, but I'll posit it to you. NFL fans don't seem to care about this. Like my day-to-day being on Twitter and just noticing what people are tweeting about, what people are arguing about, listening to sports talk radio, what's Cowherd leading with today? What are they leading with on First Things First? I like that show. What's the big story over there? What's making the ticker on Get Up or on First Take? What are the topics that people care about? What are the topics that people want to dig more deeply into? And nobody cares about this stuff. At least if people care, that's not being reflected in the different streams of content that I'm following on a daily basis. So why don't people care about these things? Why don't people care about the scrutiny and the controversy and the misgivings among the NFLPA? Their new executive director, who is no longer, he resigned last night, saying, it's clear I've become a distraction. It's like, that's a hell of a way to word that. But I guess you are a distraction. Yes, it's because of things that you've done. I don't think anybody really cares about that. Pablo Torre and Mike Florio came out with that explosive report outlining all those different streams of communication between the owners, basically all but showing that there is collusion. No one really cared. Didn't really get a ton of run. You know what's getting run? How will Dak Prescott and the Cowboys bounce back this year? Will Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, will they be able to, show a little more gunpowder offensively for the first time in a few years? Will the Eagles defend their title? Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, what's their outlook like this year? How's Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams? How's that going to go in Chicago? Those are the things that are getting talked about. I think the more that I follow some of these NFL stories and the more that I consume sports talk radio and sports talk television, what I've realized is NFL fans, what we care about? Is the game going to be on my TV week 1 at noon? That opening night, that Thursday night, will the game be on my TV? Am I going to be able to watch my team 18 weeks, 17 times this season? Are we going to have Sunday Night Football? We got Monday Night Football. Who's calling the Monday Night, Sunday Night Football games? Is anything messing with my football? No? Okay, well, then you guys figure it out. You guys deal with it. The NFLPA, this is your mess. You made it. Clean it up. This is your bed. You sleep in it. This is of no concern to me. The NFL owners are colluding. Okay, whatever. I don't really care. Is my favorite quarterback going to get his extension, and is he going to continue to play for my team? That's what I care about. That's what I'm focused on. These second-round picks fighting for guaranteed deals. Is Anthony Belton eventually going to sign before training camp or not? He signed today. Okay, well, I'm probably not going to think about that or worry about that again. I just don't think this stuff resonates with football fans. I don't think they care. I mean, they might notice it, and they might go, that's kind of interesting. Maybe listen to a podcast about it, maybe read one story, but it's not something that, again, is getting day-to-day coverage on Get Up, First Take, Cowherd's show, things like that. And I think it's interesting. I think I understand why. I think it's because football fans care, will there be games on my TV? And it's the same thing with baseball between the MLBPA and Tony Clark and the players and the owners. And that's certainly, of all the American sports, the most contentious labor and owner relationship that there is. I mean, anytime there's a new CBA in baseball, you can just expect it to be as painful as possible and as slow as possible. But the only time that folks in my life really ever cared about that and really dug into what was being offered and what the deals were back and forth between the PA and Major League Baseball, it was in 2020 when there was not a season, when it took until July. When was opening day that year? July? They only played 60 games. And the only reason that we ever followed the back and forth between the millionaires and billionaires is because it affected, as fans, our bottom line. The bottom line of the owners is the money coming in, the gate, the television money, the revenue sharing. The bottom line for the players is, am I able to play the games and get game checks? Am I able to continue my career and collect a livelihood? For fans, our bottom line is your product on my TV? Can I watch it when I'm supposed to watch it, when I expect to watch it, when I want to watch it? And if our bottom line as sports viewers, as consumers, if our bottom line isn't messed up, then I think a lot of this is just noise. Oh, look, the NFLPA had stepped down. Oh, Lloyd Howell? Oh, yeah, that's right. I read that he was at Booz Allen and he was, overcharging the government and get all these sexual harassment allegations. All right. Okay, so what is it? July 18th. All right, so training camp next week. Hell yeah, can't wait for week 1. You get the fantasy draft set up. You got to get all the office pool. You got to get that stuff ready. That's what we care about. And I think it's interesting, especially this time of year when there's little to nothing going on. The head of the NFLPA, the executive director, stepping down amid controversy is a pretty big deal. And yet I don't know that other than, Pro Football Talk and Kalen Kaler and Don Vignata, again, have had some good stories about this last 24, 48 hours. I don't know how many people are clicking and reading, but it's not really cracking the big picture. I don't know that it's really, really entered our front of mind because you know what? The games aren't in danger. Like the union, that's your problem. You guys, you got to figure that out. The owners, are you collude or not? Okay. Are you going to pay my favorite players and are the games going to be on my TV? Okay. Whatever. I realize it's a dirty business. You guys got to do what you got to do. I just don't think fans care that much about this stuff. And it's interesting because I can't really imagine a scenario where there would be more explosive headlines in this period of time than there have been in the NFL. And nobody cares. And Roger Goodell and those owners have got to be like, this is just the best, man. It's exposed that we're straight up working with each other to suppress quarterback salaries. It's exposed that the head of the players union, kind of fast-tracked by not Corey Linsley, but JC Tretter, he's a fraud. He sucks. And this isn't going to impact interest in the NFL at all. Not one bit, at least not how it feels today to me. And I think that's interesting. Just a little observation to begin the show. It's a Free Phones Friday, so on the other side, we could talk about whatever you want. Brewers, we can get into that. If you want to pick up on the Nizier Forkerine stuff from yesterday, we can. I feel like we've hit that from most every angle, but if you're interested, we can continue that conversation as well. And anything else, it's truly a Free Phones Friday. Call in whatever you want. 608-321-1670. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
It's the Wisco Sports Show, and it's a Fins Up Friday. It's a free phones Friday as well. Call in whatever you want. 608-321-1670. My opening take in segment number 1 was, hey, the NFL owners and the NFLPA having quite a month. Lots has been dug up. Many things have been shown to us now about collusion among the owners, even though it legally was not convicted as collusion. And then we also have these stories about the new head of the PA, the executive director, Lloyd Howell, stepped down last night. All of these misgivings and misdoings and misdeeds. And I just don't think football fans really seem to care. And you know why? Because in a couple of weeks, the season's going to open on that Thursday night. There's going to be games on Sunday. I'm going to be able to watch Scott Hansen or whoever's doing Red Zone. I don't know. I know there's always like drama with Scott Hansen. I don't know. We're going to be able to watch. We're going to be able to bet, play fantasy football. And until that comes into question, I just don't think people care that much about this stuff. You can text and call on this or whatever you want, 608-321-1670. Nick says, millionaires complaining about billionaires. Yeah, and this is exactly, right? We hear this in baseball a lot. I have no interest or sympathy as long as the players are on the field playing and winning. There you go. Because guess what? I have to work tomorrow to get my bread and butter. Yeah, I also think you're just not going to get a ton of sympathy from people who work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week or more. You know, a lot of us work more than that. Us. I mean, I work more than 40 hours a week, but this isn't a job. Look at what I'm doing. I'm not lifting heavy things or building things or engineering things or helping people. I'm just sitting here. So I say us, but it's not really what I mean. Q says collusion is wrong no matter where it happens. The media doesn't cover it because they make contracts with the billionaire owners. Yeah, I don't know. If you were to ask Florio, I think he would probably have a rant for you. He'd probably be like, why isn't ESPN? These league partners are refusing to cover the story. And maybe he's right a little bit. I also think those networks, per my opening remarks, cover the things and talk about the things that people want to hear about and pay attention to. And watch those numbers live. You can tell if, those folks at FS1 or ESPN, they can watch the ticker. They can watch the meter. What are people tuning in to see? When those clips get posted on YouTube after the fact, what clips are getting the most run? It's not stories about Lloyd Howell stepping down. It's a segment where a bunch of panelists debate whether or not Dak Prescott is going to have a bounce back season, or Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Was it the right move? Is Tomlin actually going to, have a winning season again this year? It's things like that. That's what's moving the meter. So you can talk about, these broadcast networks are league partners. They're not going to do that. Yeah, but they're also businesses. And I think it's in their best interest to cover the stories that people care about. And I'm telling you, I don't think people care about this stuff. Couple of texts. Bobby in Menominee says, I hope these player association unions continue to be incompetent so the players get paid less. It's funny. The NFLPA has always, I don't know if the NFLPA has always seemed weak or messy, or if the owners have just done a better job playing hardball, or what it is. Like, compare the NFL, for example, with Major League Baseball. The players wield so much power and they can drag it around and muck it up, and they always do. And I'm no legal expert here, but anytime there's unrest between players and the league when it comes to Major League Baseball, I feel like I'm always rolling my eyes at the players. That's not to say that they're always in the wrong, but when baseball seemingly is trying to make progress or we're trying to grow, like, it seems like it's normally Tony Clark's beard and the players who are holding things up. I'm not trying to be anti-union. That's always how I've perceived it. The NFL has been much more balanced, and I think the scarcity of games is a real thing. Players are they're pretty beholden to those game checks. There's only 17 games in a season. The NFL, I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, it stands for not for long. These players can't count on having long careers. One missed game check for them could be, that can make an unbelievable difference. And the owners know that, right? Players can't afford to miss games. Owners can, although I think it'd be a cold day in hell if we have a work stoppage or a lockout in the NFL again anytime soon. The country just won't let it happen. Forget the players or the owners. You want to start a civil war, forget slavery, take football away and see what happens. You know what I mean? It's hard to compare. It's apples to oranges, definitely, or apples to scooters or whatever. It's just very different. I don't want players to get paid less. Although I think in the NBA, and we've talked about this, people see Jaylen Brown making that much a year and people are like, really? I do think that some players can make such ridiculous amounts of money where it's a turnoff to fans. So, Bobby, I think you're joking a little bit, and I want these players to get what they're worth. It's not to say I want them to get paid less, but I think sometimes players get paid. It's like, really? And I think in the NBA especially, that can turn some fans away. Luke on the Dirt Road says, oh no! Scandal, corruption, collusion at high levels of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate and its affiliates. Whatever shall we do? Color me shocked. This is my sarcasm font, by the way. I just assume this is going on in all sports and leagues all the time. Yeah. This is why when I saw they were colluding, but it was not deemed legal collusion by an independent arbiter who oversaw the case and the hearing between the NFLPA and the NFL. But you could tell, they're working together, colluding. And I saw, all right, good. I want the organizations in my sports leagues to wield some power. I want the general manager and the owner and the people who are running the teams. I want them to have power to counter the players. I want the players to have power. I want the organizations to have power. It should be a struggle. It should be pretty balanced. That way there's checks and balances, and one side or the other isn't completely running the thing. In the NBA, I think this has been labeled the player empowerment era, and I think there have been negative side effects for that. There's also some great moments where it's like, yeah, that guy's a star, and I will drop everything to watch him, which I don't know that we always get in baseball or football, different leagues, so apples and oranges. I want there to be a good balance of power. I want there to be a good give and take, a push and a pull between organization and player. I think the NFL has it, but at times I think that's because the union has kind of been a mess. DeMaurice Smith is, I'm always told that when the players get the short end of the stick on this stuff, I'm supposed to be mad at Roger Goodell and the owners. It's like, no, take it up with DeMaurice Smith, man. Work as a union to get a better deal. Or if you're unhappy about this, then you should have focused on, making a concession elsewhere to make sure that was prioritized. Whatever. This text says PFF listed Caleb Williams as having a ceiling of Jordan Love, which is absurd. The Bears will go 2-0 against the Pack like they should have done last year. Blow, Pack, blow. Love the show. Okay, so before I talk about the ceiling of Caleb Williams, I need to address the Bears will go 2-0 against the Pack like they should have done last year. I'm going to continue to scream this into this microphone until the season starts. The Bears and the Packers both got exactly what they deserved last year in that series. They played each other close. 1-1 is the correct balance last year. Packers fans say, oh, we should have gone 2-0. And then Bears fans, oh, we should have gone 2-0. No. The Bears deserve to win one of those games. The Packers deserve to win one of those games. The problem is, and why everyone's losing their skull over this still months later, is the games that should have been won and lost were flipped. The Packers should have lost the game at Soldier Field, and then they should have won the game at home, and vice versa for the Bears. They only won the game at Soldier Field because Carl Brooks blocked a field goal, which is a good play, and I'm not minimizing it, but a little lucky. And then the game at Lambeau, the Bears had no business winning that game. Matt LaFleur calls a timeout for no reason, for absolutely no reason. He just does nothing, which is the easiest thing to do, which is what he should have done. The clock winds down, the Packers kick a field goal, which they kicked and made anyways, except without leaving 60 seconds on the clock for the Bears. So Bears fans, stop telling me we should have won both last year. No, it was a split, and it was an even split. Same with Packers fans. Everyone, quiet down. Now, the interesting part, PFF listed Caleb Williams as having a ceiling of Jordan Love. That's interesting to me. Ben Johnson coordinating an offense for Jared Goff, in theory, should look pretty different from the one he's coordinating for Caleb Williams. And part of I can't remember who I saw this. Maybe it was Ruthie Polinsky, who was on 670. I watched a breakout clip I saw on Twitter the other day. I can't remember who it was saying one of Ben Johnson's strengths. Maybe it was Carmen Vitale. I think it was Carmen Vitale. Said one of Ben Johnson's strengths is he's very good at designing his offense based on the skills and the skill sets of all the individual players. Now, a caveat, everybody's going to say that about any good coach. I mean, like, it's just something you say. I remember that was said about Mike Pettin. Like, that was a huge selling point. You know, he's going to make the meal based on the groceries that he's given, you know, not the other way around. Like, everyone says that. But if that's true, right, in theory, Ben Johnson's offense for Caleb Williams should look different because he's a very different quarterback than Jared Goff. He's not a stationary pocket passer. He's fluid. He moves. He freelances. Last year, sometimes to his own detriment, a lot of times to his own detriment, but he also had no O-line and an offensive coordinator that just wasn't cutting the mustard. So I don't know. You say the ceiling of Jordan Love. I don't even know what that means because I'm not even sure what Jordan Love is right now. But I am interested to see Ben Johnson specifically coordinating an offense now for Caleb Williams, who's a very different player than Jared Goff, the player that he was coordinating for the last couple of years. So that interests me. I don't even know what the ceiling of Jordan Love means because I don't even know what Jordan Love is yet. That's something we're trying to figure out this year as well. 608-321-1670. More of your comments and your phone calls next. It's a Free Phones Friday. Call me with whatever you want.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Consistency. We talked and sometimes joked about, he might have had that gap, but he made the play over there, right? Like there was a toss run over there that instead of going over the top of the blocker, somehow he ran underneath the blocker and still made a TFL. Now it's getting the details down. Now it's lining up exactly where he needs to line up and doing it over and over and over again, because then he's going to show up faster and he's going to make more plays and he's going to become a more consistent player. And have you guys seen him at all lately? I mean, when you see him now, he looks different. I mean, he's bigger now. I mean, he's got to be close to 240 pounds. I mean, this is year 2 from him. For him, he knows what it's going to take. He knows what he has to do now to stay healthy. Because as much as we talked about not having him on the field last year, he was injured quite a bit, where he missed a lot of time and didn't practice and couldn't play. Now he knows what it's going to take to stay healthy in this long season. And you can tell he dedicated that time and took care of his body and he changed his body. And now when you sit with him in that room, he's locked in and he's focused. And now he knows what he's doing. Your first rookie year can kind of be like survival mode a little bit too. So he just needs to be more consistent. He's got to stay healthy and, continue to improve. And he's a guy that we're really excited about because he can do a lot of different things too.
That's Jeff Hafley back in May talking about Edgerrin Cooper and what he expects in year 2. Just kind of gets us into a Packers conversation. Started the show by outlining some of the bits of controversy coming out between the NFL owners and the NFLPA. And sorry if I'm tripping over my words tonight. This always happens without fail. Anytime there's a week where Bill is on vacation and I'm doing both shows, it's all fine until Thursday and Friday evening, and my brain starts to run out of gas. So sorry if I'm limping to the finish line today. I play that Edgerrin Cooper cut to get us into a Packers conversation, but also to kind of set up this little chestnut of news. The Packers have placed wide receiver Christian Watson and linebacker Quay Walker on the active, physically unable to perform list, and Elton Jenkins on the non-football injury list. They can be activated anytime. So this isn't one of those things, and I have to put my hand up and admit ignorance on this, because sometimes like players get put on a list before the season. It's like, and this ends their season. It's like in August, huh? So it's not would that be the PUP list? No, physically unable to perform. That's the PUP list. And the non-football injury list, the classic NFI list. Christian Watson's not a surprise. He's coming back from a torn ACL. Quay Walker is interesting. Elton Jenkins with a non-football injury. Now, I did not cover OTAs. Not that it would have made a difference, because Elton Jenkins wasn't there, because he's seeking a new contract. Do we think he hurt his body? You think let's say he broke his foot fly fishing. Grant, who would ever do that? I don't know. I'm just making things up. He fell off a four-wheeler, let's say. Maybe. Or is this a precursor to him possibly showing up next week to mandatory minicamp being like, I got a shoulder thing. It'll probably take a couple weeks to come back from, unless I get a new contract extension, which is what he's been looking for. I will recycle a take that I shared with you the other night of saying, I would like for the contract stuff to be done before training camp. I would like for Zach Tom to be extended before training camp. I would like, again, if we're going to do Elton Jenkins' contract, and there's a world in which the Packers play hardball with Elton Jenkins, they say, no, we want you to play center this year. You're more than fairly compensated for the play that you're about to give us. And then we'll reevaluate in the offseason. The Packers may want to keep the flexibility to move off from Elton Jenkins really without much financial pain at all. In fact, they're going to save money if they do that after this upcoming year, which is what Elton Jenkins and his representation are well aware of, which is why they want the contract adjusted. But at the end of the day, the Packers could just say, okay, then go and sit out the entire year then. I would not like it to get to that place, personally, because I don't think that's conducive to high-level football. I think then you have someone who's playing with a gun to their head, proverbially speaking, right? I have to play, and I don't want to. And I just think that, that opens some doors to I don't like the idea of that. If the Packers are going to do Elton Jenkins' contract, and I kind of think they're gonna, can we do it now? Can we do it now, please? And see if we can't make this non-football injury go away a little bit. Rick on the live streams. Yeah, he stubbed his toe. Wink, wink. Yeah, that was my first inkling too. Watson in the ACL makes sense. I guess Quay Walker has missed some earlier offseason stuff. I really want to see Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper healthy, playing together, side by side, because I think that's the key. Edgerrin Cooper taking a step, absolutely. I just think even the version of Quay Walker that we've seen, if you average Quay Walker out over the last 3 years, you just take the average version of the player that we've got and you put him next to Edgerrin Cooper. I think it's a very good combo, and it works really well. Last year was a little hit or miss. Like, one guy would get hurt, the other guy would be healthy. And the other guy would get healthy, and then the other guy would get hurt, and so on and so forth. It was this dance of those two spinning around and not being available at the same time. And I really want to see it. I played a little bit more sound from Jeff Hafley earlier on Bill's show, and I think it's worth kind of going back on as we maybe discuss and set our expectations for the defense in year two. Jeff Hafley talking about how this offseason has certainly been a lot different than his first one.
Oh, way different. I mean, last year in the offseason, we were just getting to know each other as a staff. We were trying to figure out who we were going to coach. We were trying to figure out what we were going to be schematically. We're sitting here installing it for the first time. So you take that whole entire offseason, and when the players aren't here especially, and you start watching our film now, what we did, and you do it with a clear mind. Like, we self-scout a lot during the season, right? So, for example, I'll go back before we're about to play a game, and I'll review the last couple of weeks and see what the calls were, how we were attacked. So you try to see what they're looking at. It's a lot easier to do when you have all this time, and you can really pick it apart. You can really talk about it, and you can really group it all together and see what worked and what didn't, and who did what well, right? So that part's been really, really nice. And what's really nice now is when we're with the players, we're watching our tape. We have all this time to sit there and watch what we did and show them what we did well, and show them how, we need to get better in certain areas. It's like you and I sitting down, and here was your one-on-one tape with your position coach. Coach, what do I need to improve? Well, I don't have to tell you. I can show you now. Like, that's a huge difference, right? And I can sit in front of the room and say, hey, guys, we did this well, but then show these clips, say, we got to fix this. We're not going to be any good next year. So that's been awesome. I think the whole key, though, is you got to get the guys in year two to go in with the same beginning mindset that, even though I might have heard this all year, I'm going to listen like I never heard it before and maybe pick up on some things that I didn't really know or understand. That's the key right now. We got to push the guys to have that mindset, like, pretend you're hearing this for the first time again and continue to hit the little details.
One thing that I would like to see from the Packers defense this year, and if Vagabond John is listening, he is either going to punch a hole in his radio or dial the show faster than he's ever dialed it before. Something that I'd like to see from Jeff Hafley's defense in year two is, I don't know, I don't want to see you lay eggs defensively in your biggest games. Like, let's just go down their schedule from last year. They gave up 34 to Philly, loss, 31 to Minnesota, loss. They gave up, for what it's worth, 27 to Jacksonville. They gave up 24 to Detroit at home, which actually wasn't that was they played a pretty good game. The offense did little to nothing in that game. After the bye, they gave up 34 to Detroit. That was that Thursday night game. They gave up 27 to Minnesota. And then in the playoffs, they actually performed okay. But as Vagabond John has shared with us in the past, 2 years ago, Joe Barry's last year, you know which games they really locked it down? The one against Patrick Mahomes and the one against the Lions and Jared Goff on Thanksgiving at Ford Field. Like, I just need better performances from this Packers defense against Philly, Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago. We'll see. I had a listener, I believe this is, was it Billy in Boulder the other day? I'm sorry, I can't remember, but he tweeted in the PFF column or story that has Caleb Williams. They did floor ceiling for all these quarterbacks. The ceiling is Jordan Love. The floor is a bust. That's a funny ceiling because I don't even really know what Jordan Love is. Williams entered the NFL with a tremendous amount of hype, only to disappoint as a rookie, especially when compared to the rest of the class. Williams' season was, at best, underwhelming. He flashed big play potential and incredible arm talent, but he struggled with accuracy and took on pressure and sacks far too often. His 63.5 PFF passing grade was the worst of the 5 first-round quarterbacks who saw action in 2024, as were his 54% accuracy rate, 23% uncatchable pass rate, and 26% pressure to sack rate. That's nuts. All of these issues we saw in the final season of college showed up in his rookie campaign. Granted, top prospects who don't put it all together as rookies are still capable of turning things around. Jared Goff is one notable example, and Bryce Young appears to have turned a corner ahead of 2025, but struggling as bad as Williams does usually does not end well. Still, he has the talent and one of the best supporting casts in the NFL to turn it around in 2025. I remember saying similar things about his supporting cast last year. They certainly beefed up the O-line. They got a real play caller. I'm just done, as I've said multiple times, assuming competency on behalf of the Bears because I just think it's silly to do. I want to look at some more of these floor ceilings. Caleb Williams' ceiling is Jordan Love. Floor is bust. That's wild. Jaden Daniels, ceiling Lamar Jackson. Floor Kyler Murray. I actually think that's pretty good. Drake May with the New England Patriots. Ceiling Trevor Lawrence. Floor Daniel Jones. Okay. Michael Penix, ceiling Justin Herbert. Floor Jameis Winston. That tracks. JJ McCarthy. The ceiling is Joe Burrow. The floor is Sam Darnold. Like last year, Sam Darnold. He won 13 games last year. McCarthy's rookie season ended before it started as he needed knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus. Whatever you thought about him heading into the 24 season shouldn't change for 2025 in the future. McCarthy wasn't asked to carry the national championship Michigan team, but when he needed to, he delivered. While he wasn't elite at generating big-time throws, nor was his turnover-worthy rate spectacularly low, McCarthy excelled under pressure when he was facing the blitz. His success rate in both situations ranked third in the class behind Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. Darnold's career looked over until his incredible season with the Vikings. Assuming McCarthy is better than Darnold for his career isn't a stretch, but nothing is ever guaranteed. That's a high ceiling. Last year's I assume they mean last year's version of Sam Darnold. Let's take a call here. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Oh, wow. That did not take very long at all. Southside Scott.
Hey, Scott. No, I wasn't going to drag my feet. Why would I make you sit on hold, Scott? That would be silly.
Because I'm a Denver Bronco fan and a Colorado Rocky fan.
Well, you've waited on the Rockies enough this year. I'm not going to make you wait more.
I'm hoping they get to 25 wins this year.
25 would be would it take 25 wins? 17 weeks? Preseason wins, I guess.
Yeah, they're at what, 20? No, they're at 21 right now.
Yep.
Yeah, 21. So they're definitely making, which I told you before, they're definitely making me a Brewer fan more and more.
Well, it's not like you have a better option. Jesus, Colorado Rockies. Are they going to trade anybody? What's the latest you're hearing?
To be honest, I have not paid attention. They've always been a selling team, so nothing would surprise me.
I think the Broncos are going to beat the Packers this year, Scott. One more Denver thing.
Well, that was my next thing is we face each other this year, and to be honest, if you pay attention to what's on paper, then yes, because they're saying Denver has, on paper, of course, number one defense.
I mean, it's not like they have a bad offense. Bo Nix and Sean Payton were pretty good last year, and playing in that building is a tough thing, too.
But no, but defenses will win championships. That's what Denver won their last one with the defense. Not Peyton Manning. As much as I love the man, he did not win the championship. Denver, the defense did.
You know, you can say that again. For those of us who watched it, I'm amazed. I'm amazed Peyton Manning even needed to be out there. With all due to a great Southside Scott, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's funny because we were win-lossing the schedule a little bit on Bill's show earlier today, and I think they're going to lose that game at Denver. G-Dub comments, what about Washington? Well, the Washington game is at home, and it's on a short week. So if it was at a neutral field or if it was in Washington, I'd probably take the Commanders, but I kind of think the Packers will win that Thursday night game. I could be wrong. This text says Jaden Daniels' floor can't possibly be Kyler Murray because he's already better than Kyler Murray. It was one season, though. It was just one season. So, I'm not trying to hate on Jaden Daniels. Also, Kyler Murray is I'm like one of the only Kyler Murray people. Kyler Murray's awesome. I love watching Kyler. I don't know that he's always had the perfect situation, and he's been far from the perfect player. But look, Jaden Daniels takes one nasty hit, a helmet to his hip next year, and he can't move around, and all of a sudden, he's a fine pocket passer, but I think Jaden Daniels is great. I just need to see a little bit more. Can I see another 2 months? It's not too much. I think the Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson floor ceiling, I think that's a good one. We'll take a 3-minute break, come back with any remaining thoughts from hour number 1, and then at 5 o'clock, I want to get into some Brewers stuff.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, you say that, I feel like the season was so long ago. So we've kind of moved so far on. And I mean, this offseason, looking at what we did, looking at what we did well, looking at really how we evolved and where we started and where we ended, really to pick up and where we're going, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. First, I would say, I'm proud of the way the guys played in year one, right? The thing that I'm most proud of, I do believe we got better. And I think we played our best football late in the season. And that was the most important thing to me. Year one, you're figuring out the system, you're figuring out the players. Can we get better each week? But probably the biggest thing is, I thought we were playing really hard at the end of the year. Like, we were really physical. We were really running to the ball. Guys were playing confident. Guys were communicating. And I just felt like we came alive. And that's probably the thing. Throw out the numbers, the statistics, where we were. I think we played harder than our opponents at the end of the year, and we were more physical. And that's what I'm most proud of and appreciate the most of the guys. Expectations, in a perfect world, you want to get back to where you left off as fast as possible and build from there. So how fast can we do that, right? We have guys who have played in the system. We have some new pieces we need to add. We need to evolve. We can't just do the same thing, say, here's the playbook, this is what we're running. No, we're a different team. It's a different year. Offenses are going to evolve. We have to evolve. I would say I would like us to be more consistent. Okay. There's a lot of things we did do well, but I think the consistency needs to improve. Certainly, I need to improve, looking at myself personally, how I called games, what I called, when I called it, how I got to certain things. Can I get there faster? My relationship with the players in year two, I feel like there's kind of a trust built, so we can the relationship, I think, can get even better. But to me, it's how fast can we get to where we finish the season and then build from there and evolve and be more consistent.
A little bit more from Jeff Hafley. This kind of gets us in the best mindset as we get ready for Packers camp next week. I know we've talked a lot about the defense today, both in the last 20 minutes or so, but we also talked about it for like the last hour of Bill's show earlier today. I'm more concerned about the offense. Like I think the defense has a reasonably high floor. I think it's easy to squint and to see, okay, well, if Kenny Clark is healthy, and then you look at Edgerrin Cooper and maybe the leap that he could make, like, yeah, okay, I could see the defense already having a reasonably high floor because of their talent, and I do think Hafley's good. I could see them taking a jump, being better. The offense, I'm not so sure. Like, I don't know what Matt LaFleur is going to have in store, or Jordan Love. I don't know how this offensive line is going to come together, because I still don't know internally what the Packers think about Elton Jenkins. The way that they've drafted would indicate that they're looking ahead to the future at multiple spots. Not just Jordan Morgan in the first round, but Anthony Belton in the second. Like, to me, that's what they're looking at. That's what they're looking for. So I bet internally they would love to play out this year of Elton Jenkins' contract and then have the ability to cut him after. I don't know if Elton Jenkins is going to let him get away with that, or he's going to play pissy all year, which I don't love the idea of. I don't think that's conducive to high-level football unless you win a ton and win right away. All the more importance on that week 1 game against Detroit and then week 2 against Washington. G-Dub's up my butt on the live stream about, like, not fully believing that Jaden Daniels is the second coming of Jesus Christ. G-Dub, if you want to talk about this, you can call in. I'm not going to go back and forth with you on the live stream for an hour. I think Jaden Daniels is significantly better than Bo Nix. I'm more worried about the Packers' chances of beating Denver because they have to go to Denver. And I think Sean Payton is really good. I would take him over Dan Quinn. That's nothing against Dan Quinn. I would take the Denver roster over Washington's roster, and I would take their home field advantage too. So that's why and Washington's got to come to Green Bay on a short week. Packers have got to fly out to Denver and do that whole thing. So it's okay. I know you guys have a legit quarterback for the first time in forever, or at least for 1 year. I'm not trying to take that away from you. I'm just comparing Washington because you're making me to another matchup. But if you want to talk about this, call in. I'm not going to sit here and do this.
This This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the All-Star break is over. Brewers going to get the second half of the season started tonight when they face the Dodgers out in Los Angeles. Quinn Priester going to get the ball for the Crew. He's 7-2 with a 3.55 ERA. Allowed just a couple of runs over 6 innings in his last start before the break, and was recently asked what his mindset will be on the mound as he goes in the first game back.
What I hope to do and hope to show, through what I'm doing is just find a way to get me into the game, and then I'm going to do everything I can to give us a chance to win it and give us, 5-6+ innings. If there's an opportunity to go in and pitch, it's my job to put up zeros and keep us in the game and just do the best that I can.
Dodgers going to counter with Tyler Glass now. He allowed just 1 run on 2 hits against the Brewers last week. He enters 1-0 with a 3.52 ERA. It'll be just his second start after missing a few months with an injury. Milwaukee enters the series having won 7 straight, including a sweep of the Dodgers last week. Crew is just a game back of the first-place Cubs in the NL Central. First pitch is set for 9:10. Turning to the Bucks, they're going to close out Summer League action tonight out in Vegas against Miami.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Packers have all their draft picks under contract. That's after signing second-round pick Anthony Belton today. It came on the same day that the team's rookies, quarterbacks, and injured players reported for training camp. The veterans joined them on Tuesday, and the first practice is on Wednesday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Milwaukee, just a game back of the Cubs, and they're an amazing franchise, right? Pat Murphy picked right up where Craig Counsell left off. They had 17 starters last year and ran away with the division. They're right back in this thing right now. They're a fun team to watch.
I mean, they do everything right. They really do. I mean, they shock me every year. Murphy might be the manager of the year again. You mentioned 7-game winning streak. 7's their lucky number. They're 7th out of 30 teams in hitting and in preventing runs. I mean, this is a very good, well-balanced team. Christian Yelich, I was in their clubhouse recently, told me I guess he gets the analytics. They have the fastest overall team. That's an advantage. Obviously, they've got Terang. Mitchell has been out, but they've got Frelick is very fast. They've got guys who get that extra base. They play the game right. Murphy does a fantastic job. I mean, I only have things to like about this team, really.
Watching this team, not to do the old school, new school thing, but this team is trying to play winning baseball, runner at second base, to try to move them over, get them on, get them over, get them in kind of thing. And I get that sense.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Hour number 2, we continue these discussions we've been having about the NFL and the Packers. Focusing a little bit on the defense and looking ahead towards the schedule. I had a caller during Bill's show earlier today call in to just win-loss the whole thing. Tim in Arizona. He thinks they're going 7-10. I think they'll be better than that, but I understand his logic. Look, the Packers' schedule's laid out in a way where they don't have the luxury of starting slow. I mean, they don't really have the luxury of playing poorly or having a bad month at any turn. But if you're not 3-1 going into the bye, and then you're not able to collect like 3 wins in your next 5 games, you go into the final month of the season or month and a half of the season, Minnesota at Detroit, Chicago at Denver, at Chicago, Baltimore at Minnesota. Like, you're not catching fire in that final month and a half and fixing your record. Like, if you're hovering around 500, I don't think it's realistic to think, okay, well then they'll get white hot against, those teams in the last month and a half. I think they need to stack a lot of wins early and be ready for the idea that the last month and a half or so is going to be a little bit of a dogfight. Not to say that they can't win some of those games. And if they play Minnesota at US Bank to 1 score and look really good, like that might not kill them if they're in the playoff picture. But the stacking of wins, I think, needs to occur in the first half of the schedule. And if they start slow, it's going to be remarkably difficult. And I just don't know if they'll be able to recover over the course of the season again because of because of the schedule and the way that it is. Rick on the live stream says 10-7, 11-6. They need 10 to make the playoffs. I would tend to agree. If you get to 10, there's a chance they could be a 10-win team that's very good, and I feel great about their chances. There's not really a chance this year to be an 11 or 12 win paper tiger, not with this schedule, I don't think. So if you have any thoughts, please 608-321-1670 on the Packers, or we can talk about the Brewers as well. It's a free phones Friday. We can talk about whatever you want. It doesn't even have to necessarily be sports related, because this week is pretty quiet sports week. This this first series against the Dodgers this weekend, it'll be the final couple of days of All-Star week here. Tonight, Quinn Priester versus Tyler Glasnow. Freddie Peralta tomorrow. I was listening to Dom Catronio. I saw this breakout clip on Twitter earlier today. Let's listen to this, and we can set up our conversation about maybe how the Brewers played in the first half and some players that were most integral to their first half success.
Freddie Peralta has given the Brewers a chance to win every single game he has pitched, all 20 of them. Okay, he has thrown 111 innings. The Brewers have been in it for all 111 innings that he has pitched. Furthermore, in those 20 games, the Brewers are 13-7 when he starts. And you may be thinking, Dom, that's not that great of a record. Well, I mean, it's better than 600. And furthermore, let me give you the run totals of the losses that Freddie Peralta has pitched in, not necessarily games that he was credited with a loss, but here are the 7 games the Brewers have lost, the run totals that the Brewers have scored as the whole game, not just during his innings. 5 runs once, and that was in 10 innings, mind you. 0, 2, 2, 2, 2, 0. 2 zeros, 4 twos, and a 5. That's an average of 1.85 runs per game of support. And he still has an 11-4 record, a 2.66 ERA, an ERA plus of 151, meaning is 51 points above league average. This is an ace.
I was looking at Freddie Peralta's stats. We did this a bit last week, too. He's 11-4. And he's either tied or he's second in wins in all of baseball. I think the other, not Walker Buehler. Who's the Walker Buehler, twin? Pitches for the Yankees. Why can't I not think of his name? Doesn't matter. And I just, in my brain, he seems like Walker Buehler. I can't remember his name. But he had 11 once upon a time. Freddie won that last start against the Dodgers to either match him at 11 or now be behind him at 12. I haven't checked. 11-4 with a 2.6 ERA. The whip is slightly over 1, which is a little hefty. It's more excusable for a starting pitcher than it is a reliever. And I know sometimes the eye test with Freddie Peralta, doesn't always pass. In moments, I think there will be innings where it absolutely does, and then there will be stretches where it 100% doesn't. But as I've said in the past, I think Freddie's been here so long, we've come to take him for granted a little bit, and we've started to notice things, or we've started to pick at things that we really shouldn't be picking at or noticing. It's just been that he's here, and he's been here for so long, so you start to go a little stir crazy with a player who's played on your team forever. I think we really underrate Freddie Peralta. I think his continued performance, and again, just every time he's on the hill, giving the Brewers a chance to win, going to be a big reason why the Brewers able to maintain in the second half, or maybe they come back down to earth a little bit. We'll have to see. I just think with this weekend series and then the next couple of series, so they have 3 in LA, 3 in Seattle, and then 3 at home against Miami. I'm not going to give you a win-loss benchmark to hit, but I would like for the Cubs to come to town Monday, July 28th, and have it feel like this division is neck and neck. I would be real bummed out. By the way, the Cubs won today. They were playing at home against the Red Sox, who had won 10 in a row coming into today, predating the All-Star break. I don't want the Brewers to come into this Dodgers series and then into Seattle, lose 4 of 5 or 5 of 6, and then it's you just lose a lot of momentum that you were carrying into the All-Star break. And then you lose a little bit of that momentum that you'd be carrying into the Cubs season or Cubs series. Other than the Cubs, they're going to have some winnable games. I mean, they got 3 against Miami, 3 at Washington, 3 at Atlanta. They have some talent, but by that point in early August, they might have sold some of that talent. Home against the Mets, and then 3 against the Pirates and 4 against the Reds. Those are teams that you beat. That's what you do, especially the Reds. So over the next month or so, the Brewers have plenty of winnable games. The Dodgers are going to be tricky. The Cubs are going to be tricky. The Mets at home will be tricky too, I'd imagine. But other than that, it's a lot of gettable, beatable teams. Q asks on the live stream, historically, do the Brewers do well or fade right out of the break? I couldn't tell you. Historically, under Counsell, it always felt like they coasted into the break. I don't have visceral memory one way or the other of what they did coming out of the break. So I'm not even going to try to guess. But since May 25th, Mike Vassallo just tweeting Milwaukee 31-12, better than Toronto, who's next best at 30-15, and Houston, who's 29-15. It will be interesting to see what kind of fervor, let's say, they have coming out of the lineup. A little bit of breaking Brewers news as well. They have placed Sal Frelick on the 10-day IL with a strained left hamstring. So Blake Perkins has rejoined the team. He is in LA. He might be in the lineup tonight. I'm not sure. Depends on, I would imagine Contreras is going to catch tonight. He just had a week off. So it would seem a little silly to DH Contreras and play Yelich in the field. I'd imagine Yelich would DH, Contreras would catch. So you would probably start Churio, Perkins, Collins. That's your outfield. I like that a lot less than I like it with Sal Frelick. I'm trying to live and let live and move on from things. I'm not trying to dwell on things. I'm a little frustrated with, let's just say, I'm a little frustrated with how Sal Frelick's injury was handled coming into the All-Star break. Like, why did he start that Sunday if his hamstring was bothering him? He was a day away from having almost an entire week off. Like, why are you messing around with that? I don't know. The Brewers are so smart with so many things, and the way they manage injuries just kind of drives me up a wall because it seems so avoidable. It seems like common sense. Just be conservative and it'll work out. It's a 162-game season. You very rarely have reason to push or to stress. You very rarely have reason to push a player to play when they shouldn't be playing. The day before the All-Star break, most notably. So this feels a little preventable, but I'll let it go. I'll move on. Fine. As we approach the trade deadline, I gave you a little bit of what Ken Rosenthal was hearing. A lot of the trade scenarios that I see written about the Brewers are kind of just out of touch a little bit. Like I see Steve Pfeiffer, Sparky Pfeiffer, who does evenings on WSSP, tweeting this scenario from an account called Dugout Station. It's a Yankees aggregation account. Like, I'm still a little surprised at how many, like why are teams thinking they're going to get Freddie Peralta? And 2 months ago, I was talking about how maybe the Brewers should consider trading him. But now I don't understand why teams are like, well, we could go get Freddie Peralta. Why would the Brewers trade him? They have the best record in baseball since late May. Of course, the Red Sox win 10 in a row, which is no joke. But the Red Sox win 10 in a row, and it's like, well, Bregman's off the table. And somehow Freddie Peralta remains on that table. Big market, small market, I could make a complaint. I'll let it go. It's fine. The Brewers, like I said, since the beginning of May, or what was the date exactly? Since the end of May, since May 25th, 31-12. They have the best record in baseball, 7-1 winning percentage, and people are, throwing around Freddie Peralta trade scenarios from other markets. It's like, why do you guys think you're going to get Freddie Peralta? Call Minnesota about their guy, Joe Ryan. Call about him. I always think his name is Joe Nathan, so I always hesitate because Joe Nathan he closed for the Twins, right? I'm not misremembering that. So Sal Frelick to the IL, Blake Perkins with the team. I would imagine your outfield tonight will probably be Isaac Collins, Churio, and Perkins. I'm interested to see if Murphy moves Churio out of center for Blake Perkins. I think that would be short-sighted. I know Blake Perkins is an awesome center fielder. I'm unaware and I'm unsure of exactly the motivation and the thought process of the Brewers. It feels like Churio's your everyday center fielder. So leave him there. So don't move him just because Blake Perkins needs a place to play. Like, Blake Perkins can play right. It's fine. He's a big boy. I don't want to go moving Churio around. I know a lot of people would like that, but I would prefer Churio has settled in at center pretty nicely. I would prefer that. That's just me. Greg on the live stream says, that's the thing with takes. Rookie quarterback probably has the best rookie season of any quarterback, and people are like, I need to see more. I don't get it. Nix has an okay season. He has a better quarterback. What are you listening to, Greg? Never did I say Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is mostly just average. I like his team better than Washington's team. I like his coach better. I like his home field advantage better. You got crap in your ears, man? What are you listening to? I think Jaden Daniels is great. I'm not saying that Bo Nix is better than Jaden Daniels. Are you high? I also think Kyler Murray is underrated. I think Kyler Murray is quite good. Not perfect, but I think quite good. Back to our floor ceiling conversation. Let me read this. Where did I see this with Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels is written G-Dub. Daniels engineered arguably the best rookie season of all time. His 91.3 PFF overall grade ranks second among all rookie passers in the PFF era since 2006. And he led his team to the brink of a Super Bowl appearance. Daniels' ability to consistently generate positive plays is an aspect of Lamar Jackson's game that makes him incredibly difficult to defend. Factor in the elite athleticism that both bring to the table, the idea of Daniels as a future MVP is not out of the question. With how great his rookie season was, it's hard to envision Daniels not being a long-term high-end starter. Murray's low end is due to injuries. When healthy, he's been a game-changing player, Kyler Murray. Expect defensive coordinators to adjust to a few things Daniel does well, but his ability to extend plays with his legs will be a problem for defenses for the foreseeable future. Ceiling of Lamar, floor of Kyler Murray. And I think it's because of the injuries. Kyler Murray, when injured, is not Kyler Murray. And you could say the same of Jaden Daniels, but you could say the same of a lot of quarterbacks. I'm always just interested to see how the high-level rookie bounces back or plays in year two. Look at Jordan Love and CJ Stroud last year. Everyone had Texans-Packers Super Bowl. Those were both MVP darlings. Everyone was all over that. And it's, a little bit of a sophomore slump. And again, when I'm telling you, if we're looking at the Packers schedule, it's a matter of looking at the Packers schedule. I just feel better about the Packers' chances beating Washington at home on a short week than traveling to Denver in December. Like that's what we're talking about here. It's not a matter of Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels. I think Bo Nix is meh. I think he's fine. Jaden Daniels has superstar qualities. I just, if we were to rank the most winnable or least winnable games on the Packers schedule, I think hosting Washington on a short week is an easier task than going to Denver on December 14th, traveling out there at altitude, playing that defense. Sandwich, by the way, in between games against the Chicago Bears. So I feel better about the Washington game than I do about the Denver game. Might be an interesting exercise to just pick through the schedule and which games feel most winnable. Maybe we can kick that around a little bit on the other side. It is a Free Phones Friday, so you're more than welcome to call in and talk about anything, whatever you'd like. 608-321-1670. You can call and text. You can comment on the live stream as well. If we're getting a call now, we can delay our break just a couple of minutes. Let's go to the phones. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Oh, that was rapid fire, Grant. Tony from Texas.
Well, I was about to take a break, but I stomped on the brakes quick because I saw that we were getting a call, especially knowing that it's you, Tony. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm going to my last AAU tournament, so it's bittersweet. Some of these kids have been with me since 8th grade. But you know what?
Your last ever or your last of the season?
Last of the season.
Okay.
Last of the season. Yeah. But let's dig into this Packers stuff. And I think there was a quarterback situation that didn't get talked enough about. And I think a guy like Cone Roller might agree with me. Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love last year. And if we go into training camp next year and Jordan Love doesn't look the part and Malik Willis is out playing him, what are your thoughts with that? I mean, are you concerned with Jordan Love? You trade Malik and try to flip him? Like, what do you do with Malik Willis? I'm a huge fan of that guy.
Do you think Malik Willis, if he starts every game, wins? What did they win last year? 11 games. Do you think he wins 11 games if he starts every single one last year?
I think they win more.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. Well,
and hear me out.
Yep.
Here's why. I think Matt LaFleur calls his game differently, and the team plays differently for Malik Willis. That's constructed the way that he actually wants to play football.
Would that continue if Malik Willis was the every game starter? You know what I mean? Like if the team rallies around him because he's the backup, well, if you insert him as the starter, doesn't some of that go away?
I mean, we're doing like feelings here and projection and stuff.
Well,
I don't know about that. I'm talking about what I'm watching on the field. That dude was good last year.
I don't think he was so great. Not so great in the Bears game, for what it's worth.
And he almost won that game with some crazy passes, though.
Yeah.
Without the defense faltering at the end. No, I'm with you, Grant. He didn't look that great.
Matt LaFleur faltering at the end and calling a timeout for some reason.
Yeah. No, but my point is, I am very confident in Malik Willis as our backup. I am not confident with Jordan Love. That's crazy in year 3 as our starter. I'll leave you on that.
Well, I don't know that it's – well, I don't know. You're going to make me mince words here. I don't know that it's completely insane to have questions about a quarterback going into year 3, especially when one of the years was marred with injuries, right? Like, I tell you what, I'm not doing the song and dance next offseason. Like, this year will render the verdict. So I think the true Jordan Love is probably somewhere between what we saw at the end of last year or 2 years ago, probably last year. I'd be so interested to know what that season looked like if it wasn't interrupted by injuries and kind of tweaks to his groin and his knee. And he still played, and made many a mistake that I'm like, well, that your knee is not connected to your brain. Like that was a brain mistake, not a knee mistake. Some of the interceptions that he threw. But I think this year is going to render a verdict, Tony. So if Jordan Love looks similar this year to maybe what he did in the first half of his first season or at times last year, then we can have this conversation. I need another year, and I don't think that's insane. I understand that this will be, I believe, his 6th year in the NFL, but still, I don't think it's insane. And I think CJ Stroud, like Texans fans might be saying something similar. I still think that we're unsure exactly of what Justin Herbert is. So I don't think it's insane to still have questions going into year 3. And I like Malik Willis as a backup too. I don't think they're winning more games with him as a starter. Let's take a break. More of your phone calls next. It's 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. It's a Free Phones Friday. Call me on whenever you want. 608-321-1670. Get right back to the phone calls. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello?
Hey, this is Brad from Verona. How are you?
I'm excellent, Brad. How are you?
I'm very good. Say, I wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit, talk about Badger football.
Yes.
So what's your take on this coming year? I know you talk with Jesse a lot and Zach Heilprin. What's your take on what's going on?
our coach on the hot seat, or?
We got a call about this earlier today when I was doing Bill's show.
Yeah.
So if they have a very similar season this year that they did last year and they miss a bowl, I think Fickell will publicly among fans and alumni and former players be on the hot seat. I don't think he's on the hot seat. McIntosh is going to fire him.
So?
No, I mean the complaining will be really loud. There's already a ton of former players and alumni who, they're not even happy that Fickell was hired in the first place. So that's already there. I think publicly it will seem like a lot of people want him out. I don't think that's happening. Not after this year, no.
Okay, so what do you think about the QB situation? Do you think Billy Edwards is going to get the starting role?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, Brad. If he just plays every single game, he'll be better than Tyler Van Dyke was. That was their issue last year. They didn't have their starting quarterback for most of the year. So the bar is very low for Billy Edwards Jr.
Okay. So then my next question is, because I'm a Verona guy, Jackson Aker. Do you think I think he could get the ball so much more and do a lot with it?
Well, they had him on the camp, and we talked about it. Brad, I appreciate the call, and I do love Verona. I was down there yesterday. They've talked with Jackson Aker on the camp about the idea of a fullback, halfback, running back, tight end, combo thing. I think a lot of those guys, Jackson Aker included, are all jacked up for a return to physical Badger football. The type of football that we've been familiar with for a long time. And hopefully, if nothing else, that gives some of these players a little bit of a mental refresher, because the last 2 years, they've mostly been getting their blocks kicked in. And I think they mostly will this year too. But if it can feel different and they can play a different style of football that maybe they enjoy more, sometimes it's just good to just like shake the Etch-a-Sketch. You know what I mean? Let's do something else. Let's work on something else. Even if the result isn't going to be much better in this year, I don't think it will be. But Jackson Aker and some of those players along, running back, tight end, fullback, that kind of group, and the offensive line, of course, I think they're all pretty fired up to be running Jeff Grimes' offense. So I think that'll be better. I just don't know that the schedule will allow for any more wins, because other than maybe Miami of Ohio and Eastern Tennessee or Middle Tennessee, I can't remember their week 2, point the win that you can lock in. Find the win that you can for sure bank. Yep, that's a win. I can't really find many. So the race to 5 wins might be quite the battle. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Hi. Going back to baseball here, I was wondering what your opinion is on the trade deadline coming up, and any thoughts about maybe some potential new Brewers coming this way?
So are there any players specifically that you've looked at, or is there anyone that you want to hear about, or do you just want big picture, most generic thoughts possible?
Probably big picture.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. So Ken Rosenthal put out a story, what he's hearing around the deadline. And I appreciate the call. I like talking baseball. There was nothing in here related to the Brewers. It looks like the Dodgers are going to go nuts for bullpen. Lots of relievers in the AL Central that could be up to be sold. Tampa Bay's waiting and seeing. I thought the most interesting part of his story yesterday actually was the idea of Kyle Tucker as a free agent to the Rays this offseason, because they have new ownership. He might want to set his package on the table and kind of announce his ownership. And Kyle Tucker, here's why I go to Kyle Tucker, caller. I didn't get your name, but Kyle Tucker being on the move this upcoming offseason is going to further incentivize the Cubs to make moves now. And while the Cubs are looking to add pitching, and they signed Turnbull earlier today, they need starting pitching, relief pitching. The Brewers don't really need either. The Cubs could also stand to gain from adding offense. Like Matt Shaw's their rookie third baseman, and he's been a rookie. Excellent defensively, but basically a zero bat. I'm sure the Cubs would love to get Suarez. The Brewers would also be great with Suarez. The Brewers could also use a power bat in the outfield. I think the motivation level among the Brewers' rivals, whether it be the Dodgers or the Cubs, is going to play a big role in this deadline, because I think the Cubs could have a lot more motivation, which means they could overspend and push more chips, and the Brewers probably be like, all right, this is too rich for me. And maybe they end up doing nothing. I think the perfect thing would be a power hitting outfielder, because while they could stand to improve at third base from Durbin, I also think Durbin is a very useful player, and I don't really want to take him off the field, even if it's for somebody really good. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, it's Andy in Altoona.
Hey, Andy, what's going on? Go Rails.
Go Rails. Hey, I just want to call and confirm that, yes, Jordan Love would win more games than Malik Willis as a starter. This is right
think
up
so
there
too.
with the Jeff Janis should be our receiver number one.
Well,
it's not. No, it's not even a question. Jordan Love has put in enough games that we know he's a legit starter. He's battling through injuries. Malik Willis has been a great backup, but he's not going to win 11 games for the Packers.
I challenge Tony in Texas and other Malik Willis diehards to go back and watch that Bears game. Like, there were a couple moments where, like, and that's why he's the backup. Like, he just didn't feel that rusher. He didn't see this. Like, there were some moments, but credit to the rest of that roster and Matt LaFleur for winning, 2.5 games with him when he was starting.
Yeah, and Matt Flynn had some good moments too as a backup, but it
He
didn't mean
did.
he was gonna be a starter.
He had some absolutely legendary that game against the Lions, Andy. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Maybe Country Jam in Andy's future. It's Country Jam weekend up in the Eau Claire area. I thought about maybe going. But I think, who is it? Cole Swindell tomorrow night is headlining. I mean, I would love to see Cole Swindell. I'm just trying to think of like the drunk, dark madness that I'd have to push through. With a broken foot to boot. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
It's John Cocktoaston.
Yeah, John Cocktoaston. It's Dr. Rosen. What's up, Big Ron? I thought I might hear from you tonight.
Yeah, I got the double dip in, man. First
like
time
that.
I was able to get you on Bill's show, and now on your show. So I'm proud about that. That town you guys are always ripping on, Cadott.
Correct.
There's like some rock fest going on there.
Yeah, there's Rock Fest and Country Fest. It's in Cadott. Why, you want to go to Rock Fest?
I would like to go to Rock Fest. That would be cool. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here in Jersey.
That is a thing, yeah. I haven't even looked at the Rock Fest
The other thing
lineup.
Speaking of rock, like the one band that's touring that has no like East Coast stops is AC/DC. They've been on like my bucket list to see, and they're doing a tour right now. And I think they made it to Chicago earlier in the spring, but they're not coming out here, so I'm disappointed about that.
Do you think they just don't have mass appeal with you highfalutins out there on the East Coast, or what is it?
Oh no, I don't think that's it at all. I have no idea. They're not in New York. They're not in New Jersey. They're not in Philly. Those are all within. Philly and New York are both within an hour of my house. So
interesting.
Yeah, it would have been. It'd been nice to see them play. They would definitely sell out anywhere. I mean, I really think AC/DC is it's a top 5 classic rock band of all time.
Yeah, that's a good take. They got their own thing. Yeah. Headlining tonight, Five Finger Death Punches at Rockfest. I know a little FFDP, just a little bit, not a ton. I know Marilyn Manson. I know the name Yellow Wolf. I had a roommate in college who played him insufferably on top of his Kid Rock obsession, but that's fine. You don't need to hear me rant about college roommates. What else is going on, Big Ron? You're the last caller of the segment, so please take us home.
All right, well, I saw breaking news here. I don't know if you mentioned it because I just got off work and tuned in, but Sal Frelick to the 10-day DL, retroactive.
Yeah.
To Sunday, I guess.
So does Blake Perkins play right, or do we move Jackson Churio out of center?
Yeah, I would move Jackson out of center, although that's debatable because you don't want to ruin his confidence. Like center field, that's like the captain of the outfield,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, and I appreciate it, Big Ron. Have a great weekend. Fins up. I feel like the Brewers see Jackson Churio as their everyday center fielder. And now he's accustomed to that position and he's comfortable there. So leave him. Unless you view him as just another outfielder who's happened to be playing center for you so far this year because that's what you've needed. Okay. Again, it's difficult for me to say what they should or shouldn't do because I'm not familiar with their long-term plans. I'm not privy to that because that's the word that everybody says now. 608-321-1670. One text on the Badgers. We are screwed. Bielema is going to humiliate us. We are going to be a laughingstock if things don't change in terms of the line play this year. They are abysmal as far as recruiting Wisconsin, too. Well, the state of Wisconsin, their recruiting overall has been good. Future is bleak. Barry Alvarez, interim coach. If we get blown out by Bama, well, that would be a juicy story and good for content, if nothing else. We'll continue. More Badgers thoughts just like that one. Isn't that a great text? I love that, Billy and Boulder. Keep those coming. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
His year's kind of in a tough position where he's.
Why is that?
Well, he's got that hearing in May later.
He's playing.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know why would there be any tough situation.
Limbo. He could be ruled.
No, he's not going to be. So I don't know why it would cause him any limbo. It's kind of that same thing. People tell you today it's harder to build teams and programs and cultures because of the nature of college football. I think that's just an excuse. Right? It's the same thing. Why would you put anything in your head that would keep you from doing everything that you need to do here and how you're going to grow to move forward? And so I don't think that there's anything that is going to hold him back or should be in his mind of any sorts. We're moving forward 100%, and that's what we believe.
He's been handling it pretty well, and just
he's a very mature kid, and I think that the initial part of it was the tough situation, but ever since then, I think that he knows what he needs to do, and he knows we're going to get it done.
One more time, little audio. Luke Fickell, Colton Bartholomew a couple of months ago. That's the Nizier Fork-Urine situation. A lot of confidence. Dare I say cockiness from Luke Fickell was not warranted. He's not going to be able to play, at least as it stands right now. And I got a call from Brad in Verona. Said, well, what do you think of the Badgers' chances? Not a very specific question or call, but more than happy to talk about it. So my problem with the Badger season this upcoming year, I think the offense will make more sense. I still think they're recruiting well. I think Jeff Grimes is going to be better than Phil Longo, mostly because I think Luke Fickell's actually going to let Jeff Grimes run the offense he wants to run, which wasn't the case last year. Again, I said last night, Luke Fickell hired Longo, which was bad, and then made it worse by forcing Longo to run some version of an offense he didn't want to run, and that was clear. My issue with the Badgers this year is almost completely and totally schedule related. Let's assume you beat Miami, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee. I think this team is more equipped to maul lesser teams like this than maybe the last few years. So let's say they start 2-0. Well, when's the next win? I don't feel good about their chances at Bama, at Michigan, at home against Iowa. Now, Maryland at home, okay, so it's 3-3. Ohio State feels like a loss. Oregon feels like a loss. Maybe Washington. Okay, you're still below 500. At Indiana, I wouldn't bet on it. At home against Illinois, definitely wouldn't bet on it. And Minnesota in Minneapolis, I wouldn't bet on that either. So what? You're getting wins against Miami, Middle Tennessee, Maryland, maybe, and Washington, maybe. That's what it feels like. There's 4 possible wins there. Could maybe go a little more, a little less, but even if they get 5, most fans are going to be like, 5 wins. That sucks. And I guess on some level it does, even though the schedule is what it is. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hector in Onalaska.
Hey, what's going on, Hector?
I'm just driving over to I got a double header over at Flipside of some sand volleyball. And I totally am just lost in the everyday rigmarole of being a dad in summer that I forgot to tell you it's Friday. It just feels like it's been such a long Saturday. But I've just kind of been pondering this because I have a friend who's a diehard 49ers fan. And they literally have nobody at wide receivers where you have an abundance. Now, of course, this is off season and speculatory.
So Ayuk is hurt, and he's starting the year on the pup, as is Ricky Pearsall. So when you say they don't have anyone at wide receivers, and Jawan Jennings wants out or wants a new contract.
Right. He wants out or a new contract, which they just gave him a new contract last offseason. Of course, he had a good season, and he's like, well, I'm worth more than $7.5 million on this wide receiver market. Granted, whatever. He saw half of his team get money, but I think he doesn't have very much room to cry. But I mean, it's an interesting thing to ponder because you have such an abundance at the position,
Yeah. So what are you suggesting, that the Packers trade one of them to San Francisco?
Yeah. Is there somebody there that would boost up the Packers in a way that, would make it worth it? How are you guys going to keep, what do you have, 7 potential wide receivers, and of course the practice practice squad is there, but all hypotheticals, Grant, all hypotheticals.
Interesting. Well, anytime you're talking about 2 rivals, it's going to be difficult to make a trade happen. Appreciate it, Hector. I don't know. Is there anyone on the Niners I want? I mean, I'd take Fred Warner, one of those guys, but the Niners aren't going to be willing to trade them. It's so funny that the Niners have ended up in this spot, because nobody likes spending picks on skill position players quite like Kyle Shanahan. And I know John Lynch is a general manager, but come on, get real. They don't like using high draft picks on O-line, even though they should. Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings was a 7th-round pick, but he's been an excellent player for them. Kittle at tight end. I mean, they traded away Debo. It's kind of funny that a team that had an absolute glut of skill position players, all at a high level 2 years ago, and now they have nothing, despite spending draft capital on it. First-round picks with Pearsall and Ayuk, when you could argue they didn't really need to. Now, look at the situation now. This is why, this is why we needed to, is because you're only a couple injuries away from being shorthanded anywhere, which is true. It's true at every position in the NFL. Speaking of skill position players, can I read you a quote? This is from the account Blitzberg. Everything Steelers, news, in-game updates, rumors, talk, discussion, hashtag here we go. It's got 123,000 followers, so it seems just like an aggregation, site. Aaron Rodgers told Darnell Washington that he hasn't had a tight end like him since Mercedes Lewis. I told Darnell today that I haven't had a tight end like him since Mercedes. Mercedes, an all-time great. Darnell is like a young Mercedes. He's able to do things in the passing game and dominate the line of scrimmage. Ah, yes. That's how I describe all-time great tight ends, able to do things in the passing game. I saw this. I bookmarked it so fast. This is the most Aaron Rodgers quote that I've ever seen. Nobody likes to convince the world that lesser player is actually an all-time great or a stud, quite like Aaron Rodgers. Brewers lineup is also out. This will be telling. Okay. Interesting. So Bowers isn't left. Perkins isn't going to play today. So I was interested to see would they put Perkins in center and move Churio to one of the outfield spots. So no, they have Terang at second, Contreras catching, Churio in center, Yelich DHing like I thought, Vaughn hitting 5th at first, Isaac Collins in right field, Jake Bowers in left, Durbin Ortiz third base shortstop. That makes sense. But then again, it's the question: are they comfortable playing Blake Perkins at one of the corner outfield spots, or is he strictly a center fielder? I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested to see again how they continue to maneuver or not maneuver, and they just leave Jackson Churio in center field. I don't know. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Southside Scott.
Again? A double dip from you, Scott. What's going on?
I'm doing a lot of driving. So
well, that's okay.
I just want to say I prefer to listen to you over Jim Rome.
Oh, well, sure. You don't like Romy?
No, I like him, but I like you better.
Well, it's a very different show.
It is, but
I don't know that there is another show like Jim Rome's.
There's no other show like Jim Rome. But
no, there's not.
I prefer to listen to you more than Jim Rome.
Well, I appreciate that, Scott. Where are you driving? You live on the south side of La Crosse. Like, where could you possibly be driving? I don't imagine you have a long commute.
Long story, not for the show. So.
Were you going to see your side piece, Scott? Is that why you don't want to tell us?
Hence, well, no. No side piece. Wish there was. Okay. Glad there's not.
I wish there was, but also I'm glad there's not. That's actually very honest and accurate. That's a pretty good description. That's a good answer, Scott. You pass.
But just doing a lot of driving, so I've been listening to your show. So I just want to let you know I appreciate you and your show and like I said, I prefer to listen to you over Jim Rome any day.
I want to hang out with Jim Rome next summer. I'm going to try to get up to Eagle River. I appreciate it, Scott. I have a path. I think I have a way to possibly make it happen. It's tough, but I want to try to pull it off. Well, Scott, I have a long drive. I'm going up north after the show tonight. Who do I get to listen to? That's what I want to know. Who do I get to listen to when I have a long drive? Selfishly, who's looking out for me? That's what I'm worried about. Now I'll be able to listen to the Brewers, but the pregame won't start for another 2 hours. My drive will pretty near be done by the time the Brewer game starts. Which would be nice. I'll be able to watch the game once I arrive, but what am I going to listen to while I'm driving? You stare at the windshield. One final segment left. We'll have a little time on the other side. So if you want to chime in on anything or something new, I think we've covered just about everything today, but there might be a novel topic you think we haven't hit yet. 608-321-1670. We will wrap up the show for the week and listen to a little Jimmy Buffett next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Fins up. It's Friday. The Wisco Sports Show wrapping up the week. Good weekend to go up north. I think I will be turning right at the fork. I'll go right on 94. I'd love to go left on 90, but I did that last weekend. Variety is the spice of life. Whatever you're up to this weekend, I hope you're looking forward to something good. Jake points out something very witty on Twitter. I wish I would have thought of this. Yeah, Southside Scott's going to a Coldplay concert. I mean, they're in Madison this weekend, aren't they? Is that tomorrow night? I was a couple weeks behind. I thought I had a little bit more time. I was going to try to maybe go to that. But, I mean, now who knows? I'll get thrown up on the big screen. I'll get in trouble for something at work. Made fun of. And by the way, everyone making fun of Coldplay. Oh, the most embarrassing part is getting caught at a Coldplay show. Would you people... I've ranted about this with country music. I don't need to rant about it again, but I will. Music is to be enjoyed. Music does not exist for you to prove how much cooler or smarter or deeper or more complex you are than everybody else. If you like a song or a band, listen to it. If it makes you feel good, listen to it. Man, I don't listen to the pop country music. All they do is sing about tailgates and beers. I like tailgates and beers. Those are good. Those are fun things. I like that. It's not the most deep music in the world, but that's fine. Not every song has to be a referendum on the human condition. Sometimes it's just like, I like that song. It's about beers and tailgates. And I like beers and tailgates. I am still reacting. I still can't believe this quote from Aaron Rodgers. I told Darnell Washington. I told Darnell today, I haven't had a tight end like him since Mercedes. Mercedes, an all-time great. Darnell is like a young Mercedes. He's able to do things in the passing game and dominate the line of scrimmage. He's able to do things in the passing game. Yes, that's how I would describe an all-time great as well. He's able to do things in the passing game. Jesus, that's just... There's things that annoy me about Aaron Rodgers. All of them are stupid, and that is one. Like, you just give me more Jake Kumaro, or mad that the corpse of Randall Cobb needs to be here. It's like, okay. Or you could play with the young, athletic, talented players on the team. The good ones. Like Garrett Wilson. Remember when you had him? I haven't had a tight end like him since Mercedes Lewis. Well, first of all, dude, that was like 3 years ago. So he's talking about like, I haven't seen a player like this since 2021. I guess it was 4 years ago, but 3 seasons ago. It's like, come on. I shouldn't be bent out of shape about this. I don't know why I am, but I just am. It's those types of things with Rodgers. He can yell about the vaccine or doing drugs in the woods. That doesn't bother me at all. Good for him. It's some of the silly, stupid, meaningless stuff. It's like, oh, Darnell Washington. Okay. An all-time great, Mercedes Lewis. Yeah, for sure. I remember the huge impact he had on that game against the Niners at home in the playoffs when he fumbled the ball and then the rest of the team just quit. So, yeah, that was good. An all-time great moment, an all-time great player. Able to do some things in the passing game. That's how I would describe an all-time great as well. The Brewers lineup is out for tonight. Sal Frelick, if you're just tuning in and you haven't been plugged in or paying attention, he has been added to the 10-day IL, retroactive to the 15th, which, what is that, Tuesday, I believe? Yeah, back to Tuesday. Which, how does that work? Retroactive to Tuesday? Unless I read it incorrectly. I might have read it incorrectly. But Blake Perkins has joined the club. He's not in the lineup tonight. They're keeping Churio in center, playing Isaac Collins in right, and playing Jake Bowers in left, which is a choice. I'm not saying I would do anything differently. I don't know their opinion. I don't know their outlook on Blake Perkins' center field versus corner outfield spots. Like, are they only going to play Blake Perkins in center? Are they going to move Churio? I don't love that. Blake Perkins is a depth piece. Jackson Churio is your franchise centerpiece. If you view him long-term as the everyday center fielder, then keep him in center. Don't move him. Well, we gotta find a way to get Blake Perkins out there. But then again, Jake Bowers in left against the Dodgers. Okay. All right. We'll see. Quinn Priester takes the mound tonight. Maybe a tandem, or maybe we'll be piggybacked with DL Hall. We'll see. DL Hall's open for him in the past. So we'll see if Brewster's able to go 5 or get some length, and then maybe DL Hall can come up and eat some of those middle innings to get it to the back end of what should be a very rested bullpen that should be ready to go, especially guys like Mears and Koenig. I can only imagine how good this rest has been for them. McGill too, but McGill pitched on Tuesday in the All-Star game. But Uribe, Koenig, Mears, like I can only imagine what 4 full days off does for those guys. Maybe Murphy had him pitching, had him warming up. You never know. Insert Pat Murphy, Nick Mears joke here. But hopefully the rest has done great things for those guys, let's say, because Mears' stuff has definitely taken a dip over the year. Uribe, to a lesser degree. I think Koenig's just gone through it a little bit, but I don't know that was related to workload. I think that was just a pitcher kind of going through it a little bit. You know what I mean? Appreciate everybody who called tonight. I am excited for this weekend. Doing Bill's show is fun, but it always turns into a little bit of a long week, so I ran out of gas a little bit on Friday, but that's fine. We'll be back on Monday and ready to hit it hard with Packers training camp just days away. So expect a return to Mike Clemens, or a return by Mike Clemens to the program next week. Look forward to that. Audio from players and coaches, and we'll really start to kind of frame the upcoming 2025-2026 season, which will be a lot of fun. We can talk about things that we're seeing at practice and how those things color or change maybe some predictions or thoughts that we're having about the state of the offense, the state of the defense, our feelings about Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So next week will be a lot of fun. Plus, we'll be able to react to 3 games against the Dodgers. The Brewers have won, I believe, 7 in a row, but we'll see if they're able to continue to follow that up on the other side of 4 days off. So that's all coming up on Monday. I can't wait to be back. Have an excellent weekend. Enjoy whatever it is you will enjoy before the Brewer game starts.